Good morning, students. Welcome back to the next section of artificial intelligence. Today we'll be starting the next unit, that is third unit now. So, in this unit, basically, we will be discussing on the uncertainty in the kind of knowledge where a knowledge of event has to be. So, before actually going to the concepts here, so you can see here the first thing what I need to explain is about the information, the type of information which it follows. For example, now what I'm taking here is, for example, you know agent, what is an agent? So this is how I have taken an environment and how this agent works here. For example, if I'm taking agent here, now what happens here is the agent will take the information from environment as an input. So here it percepts the input from environment, and it provides the action back to the environment. Okay, so what it provides here, it provides actions. So this is the agent which we have already discussed, right? So now, but what I want to explain in this session is regarding about knowledge representation. So this knowledge representation, what this stands for and where it uses, we need to see right now. So if I say, for example, if I just select this, okay, now the knowledge representation, see here, up to now whatever we have seen is that we have seen that how an agent communicates here through the environment, and it takes the information through, that means it performs percepts option. Okay, so it performs percepts option, and in return back to that it gives you an action. So in that way it works there. But how does an agent knows what kind of information it has to perform? For example, if I take an automated car, if it has to move from one source to another destination, from a source to destination, so it requires a knowledge that in order to how the car has to drive, because agent will take the information through environment that has to read, that means so and so input has been given by an environment to the agent in order to go from A to B. But this information it requires of information that, for example, if any if any problem will come, let us assume that the traffic problem will come, or the kind of any problem might arise, so all these inputs will be required by an agent. So now the thing of the task of the agent here is to decide what steps are best in order to reach from a location A to location B. So that means that kind of instruction or that kind of information what an agent requires, so that information will help the agent to perform the task. So if I'm taking an automated car, the task is to perform to reach destination. So such kind of information will be provided in knowledge base, which is called as KB simply. So this KB, or you can say knowledge base, contains knowledge. What it contains? It contains knowledge. Knowledge here means these are rules in how, these are predefined rules, or these are rules which have already been defined, so that you based on the condition the agent will select, and based on that it performs accordingly. Now for example, like the same example, if I take an automated car, so it requires an information of that means the path. Okay, that means if it is going from one source to another destination, so it requires information on path, complete information on path. So that will be provided as a kind of knowledge, and this knowledge will be stored in knowledge base. Okay, this will be stored in knowledge base, and this knowledge base will be communicate by an agent. So this is your agent. So what is this agent? Now it becomes as KBA. It stands for knowledge base agent. So now this knowledge base agents will communicate with knowledge base in order to know that what kind of step has to be taken. For example, if I'm taking a robot, now a robot has to perform some sort of task. How can a robot know what task has to be performed by robot? Because input means set of input it will receive from environment. For example, it takes input like it can captures images, it can perform, it can receives an audio through natural processing, it receives the voice of humans which are interacting with a robot. So all of these are the inputs. Now the thing is that agent has to decide what action has to be performed. So the agent will decide based on what? Based on the information which an agent have. So basically it can have predefined information, okay? But sometimes the information can also be derived from the knowledge base. Like an example, if I say it there, like for example, if I say to an automated car to that, if suddenly a person comes in front of car, then the car needs to stop. This is how an predefined instruction. Okay, if a person comes, then the car has to stop immediately. Okay, so this is how the agent will decide at the time and it will stop. But what if suppose other than the person comes, then the agent will take take the example of human as their base example, and based on that it takes another another possibility that if anyone comes, not only humans, if anyone comes in front of car, either a person, either a animal, or whatever it might be, so the car has to stop. So this kind of extracting new information from the existing information is called as inferencing process. What is this process is called as? Inferencing process. So this inferencing process will be done by inference engine. Okay, this will be done by inference engine. So this inference engine and knowledge base are the part of knowledge base agents. Okay, what they are the parts of knowledge base agents. So this knowledge base agents and inference engines will take into consideration in order to decide that what step has to be taken. Like I said of automated car, like I can say an example of robot as well. So any of the application, either it is an hardware based application, either it is an software based application, I mean these are all AI based applications, so there they require knowledge. Now the thing is that how this knowledge can be represented. Okay, this knowledge, so that the machine or the so that the software can understand, we require a different kinds of techniques. We require a process where you can represent that knowledge. So this is how process called as knowledge representation. Okay, so this knowledge representation is the process in which you can formulate the information which an agent have, and this knowledge will be present in knowledge base, and the way of expressing this knowledge will be considered by a process called as knowledge representation. So this knowledge representation, so there are various techniques for knowledge representation, such as we have a logic. Okay, logic is one technique of knowledge representation. In that we have propositional logic. Okay, in that we have propositional logic and we have first order logic. Okay, and also there are other knowledge representation as well. So in order to refer these concepts of propositional logic and first order logic, so you can refer my videos which I will be providing in the description. So you can check the link for propositional logic and first order predicate logic or first order logic. So you can check that videos in my description, so that you will get an idea on what is propositional logic exactly and what is first order logic. So basically what I want to say here is that this logics will be used when the data is have a certainty, that means the data are finite number. That means you can know that whether the given situation is true or whether the given situation is false, or whether the given situation has any specific value, then at that time it will be used. What is that? Propositional logic or first order logic. So there it will be used. But now our subject starts here. That means the third unit starts. What if the data is uncertain? Uncertain is something like we cannot define that a value by a 0 or by a 1. Okay, so uncertainty. So that is what I want to show you now here, what this uncertainty refers to. So that's why if you refer the first point, what is this first point says that in AI, why we are using this uncertainty concept? Because it uses knowledge represent. Just now I said you what is knowledge representation. So it uses techniques, first order logic or propositional logic, that I said. So this logics will deal with certainty. Certainty means specificness of the data will be there in this kind of logic. Okay, how? Because it contains predicates. Predicates are what you can simply call as like a factor, a relation which connects between two objects. So anyhow, if you refer the videos of propositional logic and first order logic, you will get an idea on what are this logic stands for. So this basically deals with certainty, or you can say certainty process. So now how this? Because for example, if I say one example is there here, what is that example here? A implies to B. Okay, the symbol here is A implies to B, means if A is true, then B is true. What it means that if A is true, then B is true. It means like it uses if then. It uses clause as if then. So if A is true, then B is true. That is called as implication symbol. This is your implication symbol, or simply you can call as implies. Okay, so in that sense what happened here is, here A is true, okay, and B is also true. But what if suppose if A is true or not, if you don't know whether A is true or not, then how can you derive B? Okay, how can you derive B? If you are uncertain of that whether the A is true or not, then you cannot derive B, right? So you should be a certain state that whether if it is true or false. So that's the reason, like in uncertainty, this problem will arises over here. So that's why in order to represent uncertain knowledge, okay, uncertain knowledge are where we are not sure about the predicates, what the predicates can be. I mean like we will be using uncertain form of data. What we are using here is we are using uncertain form of data. Then that kind of study on which we are working on uncertain of data is called as probabilistic reasoning, or you can also call as uncertain reasoning. Okay, uncertain reasoning or probabilistic reasoning, because probability is what? Probability is something which you are which we are working on the things that where the data is not certain. Okay, that means you cannot say that it is either true or false. That means always the values, it will be in between 0 and 1. So at that time the probability work. That's why for uncertain form of data or for uncertain form of knowledge representation in AI, we are using probabilistic reasoning. So now what are the causes of uncertainty? Usually if you say why this uncertainty will cause or why it happens, it happens because, for example, whatever the information if you are retrieving, and if you don't know really that whether these are genuine or whether it's, you cannot say that it is 100% true. That means why? Because if it is achieving through unreliable sources, then that information you cannot guarantee that are the final one. So if they are not final, that means you are not certain that is only the final one. So at that time uncertainty will come. For example, if I am doing any experimental errors, so you will be get an approximation, and you won't get a exact value, you will get rather a range of value. In that you can say that this value have more probability, this value has less probability. So at that time also you will be having uncertainty topic. Also, if I say now in equipment fault, okay, no company can say that this device works 100%. They will say that it works for some amount of time. Then if just because of uncertainty only, you will be having, warranty and all that, because no one can say that machine works 100%. So that's the reason, like, again, it deals with uncertainty. And temperature variation is also one of the best example for uncertainty, because you don't know that at particular moment of time what can be the temperature. Okay, as I said about temperature, so same thing applies over climate, because in temperature is associated with climate as well. So this is how about the causes, means the reasons how by which uncertainty will come. These are the just few examples, you may have more examples. Okay, now what I said is about probabilistic reasoning, which I said as uncertainty reasoning. So now what is this is that it is also a way of representation of knowledge. See here, I have said you that knowledge representation techniques, in that I said propositional logic or first order logic are the techniques in order to represent knowledge, are the techniques for knowledge representation. Similarly, for uncertain form of data, where the data is uncertain, then you can use the term called probabilistic learning. That is also a concept of knowledge representation. So what happens in probabilistic reasoning means, here what we are doing, that in probabilistic reasoning we are using probability concept. Okay, so what we are using here, we are using probability concept, and we are using logic here. Okay, based on the logic and based on the probability, what it handles uncertainty in the data or uncertainty in the knowledge. Okay, what it handles uncertainty in the knowledge or the data. So that's why if I use probability, if I use probability in probability reasoning, what is going to happen, that uh, that means, like, why this uncertainty will come. Okay, uncertainty will come because of some natural reasons. Like I said, if we cannot predict that whether a day will be a rainy, whether the day will be a sunny day, or whether the day will be a cloudy day, we can just say the estimates, we just can estimate that the day can be a cloudy day. So that is how the natural reasons, but there are some reasons as well, like some of laziness and ignorance also been a cause factor for uncertainty in the knowledge representation here, which is that ignorance and also laziness. Now if I go to the real world, what is going to happen here is there are lots of scenarios. Okay, uh, where you can say that we cannot say that certainty happen. Just now I said you that it's a rainy day, or that is also one of the example of uncertainty in real life. And also behavior of someone for some situation, at some situation we cannot say that exactly what can be a what can be the behavior of someone for the particular situation. So we can just give an estimate. Okay, we can just give an estimate for that. How can you give the estimate? So there are various factors by which you can give the estimates. You can see the patterns of such situations occurred by the same person. Based on that patterns, you can say that, okay, well, this is how the reason, because of that might be the person can react in that way. Or else, if the best example, if you take any match, okay, especially if you take cricket match, or if the matches happen between two teams. Okay, we are discussing about cricket, so two teams, so we don't know that which team can win, but we can estimate by the performance of the two teams of the, and also where they are playing, the place where it plays. So previously if they play at the particular stadium, so what was the situation, or how many times that particular country or particular team has played well in at so place. So all of these things to be considered while framing, or while calculating the probability of such situations. Now what we are assuming here is, like, here the sentences, because probabilistic reasoning is something about knowledge representation. So I said knowledge representation means it contains knowledge. So knowledge means it's a group of sentences. Okay, sentences are, we can say, information. So we assume that whatever the sentences which we are taking in the form of data as your knowledge representation, so that sentences are probable sentences. What they are? Probable sentences. Okay, the probable sentences. Now next thing is about the need of probabilistic reasoning in AI. Now we know that probabilistic reasoning is about uncertain reasoning, okay, uncertainty reasoning, but why this is required in artificial intelligence? See, as I said, in artificial intelligence also, just now I have given an example, like we cannot predict at some situation that what a particular device with AI features, like if a robot is there at some situation, how a robot should react with some untoward incident, or with the information which it doesn't have complete information at that time, how it reacts. So at that time, when for that reason they have to discuss, because we can't say what can be the outcome. If the outcome is unpredictable, then we need to, that's why we are using this concept in AI. Okay, that's the reason. And also, like if for example the possibilities of predicates become too large, because predicates are something, like I said you, the relations among objects. If it becomes too large, then we will be in a situation that we cannot able to identify that how can you handle such situations. So in order to handle such situations, we require that on particular thing that will be handled well. So how it will be determined? With the help of probability only. Or for example, like if I'm doing any experiment in something, an AI based application, so when an error occurs, okay, or else at the time of implementation, whenever a device which works, okay, whenever a device which works, at sometimes and there is an unknown error which comes for functioning of that applications which is AI based. So at that time, how it needs to handle. Okay, so all these things are what are the causes where, because of that, this probability reasoning is required in AI. So in order to discuss all of these things, so we will be discussing Bayes rule and Bayesian statistics. Okay, so the main concept is on Bayesian networks. So that Bayesian networks, first we need to study on Bayes rule, then there will be a basic Bayesian statistics. So all these will be helpful in order to solve the problems when we have uncertain form of knowledge. When an agent have, when a knowledge based agents have uncertain form of knowledge, then there is a need that they have to solve the problems. So at that time they will be solving the problem by this procedure. And here we need to understand the common terms which it will be used as in probabilistic reasoning. Before understanding that, first we need to know about the probability. As everyone knows what is probability, right? So that probability is something like if any uncertain event will occur and we don't know that whether the event is true or false, that means the value will not be either 0 or 1. It means it will not be a Boolean value. So at that time the value is, it will be in, remains between 0 and 1. Okay, it remains between 0 and 1. So such kind of things, so always it will be returns the value in between 0 and 1. So if I say P of A, means for every event you can have a probability. So for example, an event A is there, and if I want to calculate the probability of event A, so the probability of event A will be between 0 and 1, where if it is 0, if it is 0, that means it is total uncertain. Okay, there is no possibility of event to have, because the values become 0. And if it is 1, that means that it's have a complete like hold. It means you can say that the data, the event is completely certain that it performs. Okay, but usually what happens, the information will be in between 0 and 1. So if I say, if I want to perform a probability of any event, or if I want to take a probability of event occurrence, then how should I do? I have to take this formula that it has to be performed by the number of desired outcomes by total number of outcomes. Okay. So for example, like by example, you will come to know, like if there is a drawer of 10 socks, okay, like where 8 of them are total number of socks are 10 here, and in that what happens here is that number of socks which are yellow in color are 8, and if I want a probability that I should not choose yellow, then it will be a 20%, because what happens here is 8 is there. So among 8, 10 are yellow color. That means 2 are non-yellow color. So that means among 2, as it is 2, among 10. So what happens? 2 by 10 means 20% of chance of choosing a sock which is not in yellow color. This is just a simple example. Also another example also there here. So in that one we have a bag is there. In that we have 9 red candies, and we have one blue candy. And what is that? If I want to pick, okay, if I want to pick a blue candy, that means among 10 candies only the blue candy is 1. That means the probability is 10%. Okay, so in that way this is just a simple example here. Similarly, if I want a probability of not happening such event, then what is that? P of A indicates that probability of having an event. But if I use probability of negation of A, it shows that it is not happening that event. And if I add both of this, then I'll get 1. Why? Because not happening event is how, that means it will give you as 0, and P of A is what? 1. Okay, if it is happening, so either of any of the values not happening, if it is 0.5, then it will be 0.5. 0.5 plus 0.5 which will be 1. If it is not happening event is 0.2, then probability of happening event will be 0.8. That means if you club both of this, you will get the value as 1 here. What you will get the value as 1 here always. Now event, just now I said A is an event. So event means possible outcome for a variable. So now A is a variable. So for that variable, what is the outcome? That means I will be taking as an event. Okay. Sample space. Sample space means number of total events. Okay. Total number of values, like here in this one, total number of outcomes is what your sample space. Random variables. So if I use a particular random variable from the given set of values in the to represent such events where I'm using, choosing or selecting random variables, then this random variable topic will come there. Similarly, there is a probability. This is important. Prior probability and posterior probability. Prior probability means, for example, if the probability is the not yet computed, that means not yet calculated. Before calculation only, if you have estimated that so and so probability can be there, okay, that is how the prior probability. But after performing the event, whenever the probability is calculated, after all the events are evidence or informations which have been taken into account, so that will be what? Your posterior probability. That's why posterior probability is what? The combination of prior probability plus new information, because every time what happens, the new information which it updates, so that will be along with that prior probability. That means prior means earlier probability. If you add both of that, then you will get posterior probability. Now conditional probability, what, as I said, we are discussing conditional probability means uncertain probability. So what is that? Conditional probability is a probability of occurring an event when other event has already happened. Okay, when another event has already happened. Okay, understand these things. When, for example, let us suppose we want to calculate the event A when event B has already occurred. Okay, so how can you take, what is this, the probability of A? So here, how can you use this, the probability of A under the conditions of B, or probability of A with conditions of B? You can pronounce in them like that. So what do you mean by this is that the event A, we are calculating the probability of event A when event B has already occurred. That means event B has already occurred, but using that event B, we are calculating the probability of event A. So you can use this formula. Okay, that is probability of A and B by probability of B, event B. All of these are event. So A and B means these are joint probability of A and B, and B is just a marginal probability of B. Okay, So this is about conditional probability formula. The same thing you can apply when in a reverse way. Now if for example here the probability of A under the condition of B is there, similarly the probability of here it is A, so probability of B under the conditions of A, okay, probability of B under the conditions of A, it will be in this way. And both of this, the difference you may find here is that joint probability will be same, but here as you know probability of A will perform, so you will be writing the probability of A value over here. So this is regarding conditional probability. Okay, so using Venn diagram also you can see here what is that. Here is that if B is an occurred event, because what if you refer the first one, that we are calculating the event A when event B has already occurred. So now this event B has already occurred, okay, in this Venn diagram you can see, and so sample space will be reduced to set B because event B has already occurred. And now we can only calculate event A when event B is already occurred. That means we are calculating only event A. So how we will calculate? So here the common part is there, that is A and B, that is joint probability. We have to divide it by the probability of B which is already occurred. That's why P of A and B by P of B will give you the result. This is about condition. So now there is an example also, like here for example if I take that 70% of the students who like C language, and okay, this is just a probability that for to like a C language it means 70% of the student, that means it can be 0.7 you can consider. Okay, now if for example if I consider the students who like C language as probability of B, okay, because it has already mentioned over here that this probability has already occurred. Okay, so that's why I'm taking P of B as 70%, means always the probability value will be in between 0 and 1, so that's why 70% you can take as 0.7. And it is says that 40% of the students who like C and Java, that means this is a joint probability of A and B. Now A means probability of A, event A represents for Java, and for B it represents for C language. So but there is a common probability of the C and Java is 40%. Now what we have to calculate is what is the percent of student those who like C language also like Java. That means the same thing which I performed here over here, that is probability of A under the conditions of B. Okay, that means probability of what I'm finding what probability of probability of what is that here, yeah, A here. So here probability of A means, so A means here what we have probability of Java under the conditions of C language. So how we find out here, the same thing we need to substitute here, and you will be getting as 50%. So the 50% students are such student those who like C also like Java. So in that way there are various examples which you can prefer for probability conditional probability or probability reasoning. Okay, so this is just an introduction so about this session where we just discuss the common terms on probability. First thing is that we discuss about uncertainty. So I said you that for uncertainty, why this uncertainty will be required in knowledge representation. So for getting more knowledge on certain form of knowledge representation, so you can visit my video lectures on first order logic and propositional logics, which I'll be giving in description. And then you can prefer this also, which is uncertain form of data, where we can't say that whether it is true or false with something which says the values between 1 and 0. So we have discussed what are the factors by which it causes, that is uncertainty, and what do you mean by probabilistic reasoning, why it will be used in knowledge representation, and why this probability reasoning will be required in artificial intelligence, and what are the rules, what are the concepts by which you can solve also we have seen. And with that we have seen the basics of probability, and there's some examples, and we have seen about conditional probability, how this conditional probability works here. This is how it is when we are taking under A under B, and this is B under A. So in that way, with an example. So with this I conclude this class. Okay, thank you.